SMALLAND's latest update, the Forbidden Monuments, adds a brand new XP system and a brand new mount. And this got me thinking about where this game is going to go and can it kind of compete with some of the biggest and best survival games, namely Ark Survival Evolved. While many, including myself, hyped up SMALLAND as a direct contender for Grounded, given that the viewpoint is of you being quite tiny against a large world, in reality SMALLAND is much more like Ark and Conan than any other game. So that and some of the other finer details about what's in this SMALLAND update, so you guys can go and check it out. I've been covering SMALLAND since its launch and way before, of course, but you've seen the majority of my content on my second channel, JPG Crafted. So if you're new to SMALLAND and you want guides and gameplay, make sure you subscribe and go and check out the new videos where even more in-depth guides on the new stuff incoming. So the XP system is probably the biggest change. Now you'll find creatures of various different levels and they'll have various different attributes, including more strength, more speed, more stamina, or the ability to have more health. So just like Ark, you can find creatures with higher levels, and then once you've tamed them, you can level them up. The XP system is basic, like you've seen in a million other games. Attack creatures, harvest resources, and you'll gain XP. But this for sure is the first real big addition that makes this game more and more like Ark or Conan that we've seen. SMALLAND was a good solid start when it launched into early access, but it never took the world alight like I thought it would, and that's because it just didn't have enough replayability and enough deeper systems, and this really does add that. Can you imagine playing Ark if it didn't have any XP? You'd maybe get soon bored of just taming the same creatures with no kind of variance, no kind of difficulty. It's a much simpler system with SMALLAND. You've only got 4 stats at the moment that you can pump your creatures with, and they have got max caps of basically 10 levels above what they started as. Up till recently, tames in SMALLAND were quite expendable. You would find them, you'd get them, and they would die pretty quickly as they just didn't have enough of a health pool. The idea being because they're easier to get, unlike in Ark, you could potentially just keep going and get new ones every time. You don't have to wait forever to tame one, you simply beat it up, give it a treat, and then it's yours. SMALLAND also still has quite a limited amount of tames compared to something like Ark. But it's early days and I think they are going to be adding more and more creatures. Although it might never be the true Pokemon style game that Ark is in catching and collecting every single creature in the game, I still think it's worth talking about and showing the progress SMALLAND is making. So yeah, effectively you're going to be searching out creatures now, deciding whether or not they're worth the treats that cost quite a few resources to make to go ahead and tame. You can have up to 50 tames and that's been in there a while, and it looks like they're going to be adding more ways to control how many tames you've got and how you utilise them in the future. Some of the tames have attacks, some of them are just strictly for getting around the map, so it definitely has a way to go. And I'm not too sure the devs really want it to be an all and out Ark copy. But the point I'm making is, if you've been holding off a game like SMALLAND because you just worried it didn't have that component of maybe making tames worthwhile, I think it's definitely on the right step now. The new XP system adds a bit of replayability. You're always going to be in the hunt for a rare variant that they've added also in terms of different colours and now maybe higher level creatures. What SMALLAND probably needs to do though is make the difference between levels and creatures more noticeable. At the moment it still doesn't feel like they're that more powerful if you find a higher level one. Really go to town, like it is that fear in Ark when you do come across a level 150 T-Rex as opposed to something only level 17. And it would be nice to see even more variants and colours. At the moment you can find one-offs in certain places, but something really cool that this gecko actually changes colour during the seasons. So depending on where you've got it, it will go from this dark black and eventually it turned out to be very light purple. I would love to see something like this added to Ark Survival Evolved. Well, obviously the remaster incoming. So there still is only about 5 tames in the game at the moment, or maybe 6, but that I'm hoping will increase in the future, and this is just the right step. The blue tit is really OP. It takes a while to get and it's a very endgame creature. You can't access this brand new area that have added the Forbidden Monuments, filled with playground stuff and lots of brand new enemies. You've got stink bugs, you've got NPC enemies now as well. Little tribes of little people that don't particularly like their fellow kind mooching onto their area, and a ton of these blue tits that are seriously OP until you really learn how to fight them. It does show to me that this game is going to get infinitely much larger. We can see areas that they're working on in the future and you're going to need something quick and fast to get across. But a really cool creature. I've done an in-depth guide or playthrough on this as well, so go and check them out on the other channel. A big focus of SMALLAND also is the armour, and it really is kind of the idea that you take on enemies, you unlock recipes to get access to brand new armours. Up until now though, only a few of them had sets of wings, and that's been one of the major ways that you get around in the maps. Well, now you can equip any kind of wing set to any kind of armour, and it makes such a huge difference. Otherwise, effectively, everyone would be wearing the same chest piece because it was the only way that you could have a certain set of wings or the best ones, and everything else would be just the best gear you could get. But now, hopefully they're going to lean into that more and create more armours that have specific uses or definitely strengths and weaknesses against certain things. Because at the moment there's only one that maybe reduces a little bit of poison or one that gives you a little bit more speed. But again, a good move, and if they keep adding stuff like that as the reward, it'll be really cool. In this latest update though, to gain access to this new armour set you're seeing now and the wing set, you have to collect chest pieces. I'm less thrilled about this change. It does feel a bit just hunting and searching to make the game last a bit longer in terms of finding it, rather than what it has been up till now, where normally you take on a boss to get access to new armour, or you have to go through a particularly hard dungeon. But like many of the armour sets, you do have to hunt a brand new resource to craft it, which is mainly reishi mushrooms to make the brand new armour set. And I feel that's probably enough rather than relying on these. Although I do like the chest set pieces, I think they're pretty cool. I suppose it gives them an offer and a means for you to go around and spend more time collecting and exploring some of the areas. In most recent updates they added a brand new proper parry system which stuns creatures, and it's a lot better than what they originally had, and it's kind of getting there. It's still maybe not on the same level as Conan, which I don't think is like the best combat in any game, but in terms of survival there's not many more that do it like Conan Exiles, where you've got parry and dodge. Even Grounded, which I love, only really has a parry system. But they've adjusted animations and they've made it a lot better for sure. The NPCs, as I showed off a little bit earlier, they are there as well. They move pretty quick, and if they swarm you they can be dangerous. But with your high level gear there shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as you've got plenty of heals. I'm showing off the brand new Stink Bug Bomb that you've got going on here too. And these are some of the things that reminded me of Ark, because for a long time so many people wanted there to be NPCs in Ark rather than just relying on other players in PvP or PvE. Of course we've seen it in Conan Exiles what it would really look like, but this is interesting still to see SMALLAND and how they will handle NPCs, not just being quest givers but actually people wandering around the world. For SMALLAND to really stand out, it needs to keep developing more ideas that are exclusively its own. I would like to see more to do with the faction system that they spoke about a lot during early access, where I guess supposedly you would do quests and missions for certain factions or bugs, and they would maybe help you in your fight or your stuff, and not just be a case of just giving you some new armour. And balancing out whether or not you kill too many of one bug that might upset them bugs and they won't do business with you. I kind of think that was hinted at in the early days. Like, no game wants to be just a copy of another's, and I'm not trying to do SMALLAND disservice, but it's fair to say the game hasn't hit as many players as I thought it would. I think it's sold probably about 250,000 copies, which sounds like a lot, but this game has got a fairly decent sized publisher behind it, and I just didn't make a splash like some of the other big games we've seen in the survival world in the last couple of years. It's got a solid base, and as long as they keep improving and adding these kind of systems, I think SMALLAND could really turn out to be a great game. All in all, the Forbidden Monuments is a step in the right direction. There are still some balance issues, and like I said, they need to make a decision about these types of creatures you come across in the world, how dangerous they're going to be, rather than just still feeling like they're all pretty similar. But if future updates keep continuing to add new biomes, new ways to explore, making it effectively mini expansions, I'm totally going to keep supporting SMALLAND. So let me know what you think about SMALLAND, if you played it, if you've seen it on other channels and stuff, or is this the first time you're really paying attention? Go and check out the rest of my videos on my other channel and my 100 days on my 100 days channel, and I'll see you ratbags for more SMALLAND content soon.